All right, we are back for another Cloaked Treasure live stream event. I am your host, Mike, along with my co-hosts and co-founders of Cloaked Treasure, Greg and Nick. Good to see you guys.
Of course. These are always fun.
They are a blast. We're going to be doing a interview with Doug and his son, who were the solvers of Stage 7, but while they are on their way home. But if you want to do a quick explanation of the solve while we're waiting for those guys to pop on.
Yeah, they should be here in 5 or 10 minutes. So, okay, so you're sharing the screen. So for those that paying attention, this isn't anything new. This is the riddle that was Stage 7. So You've Been to Hell was obviously a reference to Stage 6, where we used Hell, Michigan as the focus of stage 6B. Then there was a whole lot of other words in here that meant something. So but now you must transcend heaven and earth as you return to Awe Sable. So what that was intended to push people to is Grand Valley's campus in Allendale, Michigan, up near Grand Rapids. So there is an Awe Sable Hall that is kind of off to the side here. And in that same general vicinity, there is a sculpture called the Transformational Link and another one called Heaven and Earth, which looks like this. And I believe on the map, this is the Great Lakes Plaza is where Heaven and Earth is located, and the Transformational Link is nearby. So you've got Transformational Link, Heaven and Earth, Awe Sable. And then we say to demonstrate your worth. And that was a reference to going down through this demonstration garden. Follow a ribbon of life. And what I'll do here is I will swap this back. And if you look not on the satellite image, but just the standard map, you'll see you have this little ribbon that kind of flows down past Awe Sable Halls here. You've got the demonstration garden. You can run into this river. It's really just a ravine, a little bit of a slow flowing creek. And it goes through quite a hilly set of trails and woods. And I know when Mike and I placed the stage, we actually followed this, which is not the easiest path in the world. But it does get you down to the Grand River. And that's the location that the actual stage was found. So let's see, I think posted a picture of it in close. So A sign, there was the letter A, the QR code, the Cloaked Treasure symbol. So that was posted up on a tree. So that's kind of how the stage was built. A little bit simpler, certainly, than Stage 6, but that's less interesting. Let's talk to Doug a little bit and Nick about his experiences rather than our creation.
Yeah. Welcome, guys.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good.
Wow.
Good. So
Nick,
Doug, my name's Nick. I'm one of the co-founders of Cloaked Treasure. It's been my job the last several weeks to conduct the interview of our winners. So I'm going to continue that trend this evening. Good to meet you. And would you please introduce both yourself and your son for our audience?
Yeah, Doug. Last name is Prow. We live over here in Plymouth, Michigan. And this is my son, Rhett. He's 8 years old.
Nice to meet you, Rhett. Glad to have you guys. Very excited to we always like the family connections and the family solves in Cloaked Treasure, and we've experienced several of those. So really glad to have both you guys here. So Doug, I have to ask my first question, and it's been my first question for everybody. How did you first find the hunt? How did you hear about us? What made you sign up? And what has your experience been thus far before your first solve?
Yeah, so I think I heard about it. It was before it started. There was like a cross post with Johnny's treasure hunt that was one of the things going on around Michigan. So I saw it on there. I think I slightly shared in the Discord, or maybe a little bit. Back in COVID, I actually ran some like road rally based treasure hunts with a friend. We did probably like 10 to 15 of them, but they were just like single day events with like 10 clues that were relatively easy to solve, because the thought was like, get done in a couple hours on a Saturday or Sunday type of thing. So always have had fun with this type of thing. And so when I saw this, I was like, heck yeah, like I would love to do that. So definitely was all in as soon as I saw it, thought it'd be a fun experience to do. And yeah, I think so far throughout all the different clues, we've had some very close ones in terms of like solves. And like, I think even the first one, I'd gotten to the point of knowing it was pi, but I didn't like know that the space should be included. And so like after the first like 5 letters, I'm like, what is going on here? Like, I know I'm doing something right, but like now I'm off a letter, and I didn't quite figure that one out, obviously. And then we had, stage 6, we were right there at the library when Stefan and the other individual there like got that one. And so we were just behind there. And I think some of the others, like, the library one I found, but I was like the second one to find that, I think. But I'm here in Plymouth. And so the ones that were close, like going to Detroit for the library or ending up at U of M for the law library, worked out well. This one was not that way, right? I was pretty sure of my solve and knew that it was 2.5 hours one way. And I was just like, dang it, we just got beat on the last one. Like, I'm not letting this opportunity go. So yeah, I can talk through a little bit of that. I wonder if you want to talk about something else.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, something you said initially kind of interests me. So if you have done some of these in the past, maybe if we do a hunt in the future, we'll bring you on as a consultant. You can help us build some of these.
It would be fun. I enjoy it. It's fun putting it together, and it's also fun doing it, obviously. So both sides of it are good.
Just before we came on, I was just telling those guys that I'm like, I love building the clues. It's so much fun, but man, I love hunting as well, because I've done a couple Johnny's Treasure Quest hunts, and they're just a blast. So yeah, both sides are fun.
Yeah,
no, for sure. So yeah, let's jump into your solve for stage 7. So as you were coming on, Greg kind of walked through the quote unquote official solution, or how he intended, what he intended the riddle to mean, and how he intended the solve to go. But we have found repeatedly that our seekers solve stages through some oftentimes very interesting logic, or they make connections that we did not devise in the beginning. So I'm curious to know, how did you solve the riddle, and kind of walk me through that, please?
Yeah, so the very first part of it I saw, like, obviously I looked at it, I started breaking it down line by line. So I had that in a notepad. So I started kind of piecing through. I mean, I pretty much guessed right away that it wouldn't have anything to do with the Osabo River, just because we had just been there. And so I was like, I immediately went to thinking, oh, it's Golden Black again, or it's something else, Osabo. And so I started looking around those things. And I also we were very active in Discord, going back and forth of like, I thought I had heard something or saw a cross post. I think it was maybe from Mike on the one that said like there wasn't more than 2 above 96 at one point. And so like, I was already thinking like, it's got to be somewhere somewhat south. But anyway, I wasn't like limiting my search at that point. So I came across Sabo Township. There's an SAUBLE township in Michigan. And so I saw that, and I was like, oh, well, that at least has all the letters. So I started looking around there as like, what are other clues in that area? There's actually an Eden township that neighbors it. And I was thinking Garden of Eden, because I was thinking spiritual aspects. And so like I was looking for biblical references. So I found an Eden, but then there's actually 2 Eden townships in Michigan. They're both like nearby as well. Like they're both by Sabo. Like they're a couple townships apart, which I thought was odd. And then for Ribbon of Life, I found a Hart Township that was right there too. So I'm finding like parts that somewhat could correlate to something on there, but nothing stuck out as like a location or anything, or like tying them together. So I was like, I wasn't committed on anything at that point. And so the first hint didn't help me at all. Like, obviously I saw that and I'm like, I already somewhat figured that was the case, that it wasn't above 96, but that didn't narrow anything in. It just was happenstance. I was talking to a friend and some others, and like, came across Asabo Hall that was on campus there. And then I have a good friend from our church group that went to Grand Valley. And so I immediately text them and I was like, hey, is there any like gardens by there? And he was like, there's an arboretum right there, I think. And so he didn't say anything about demonstration garden, but he said that there was some sort of garden or something. And so like immediately I went to Google and I started like kind of narrowing in, and I was like, oh wow, like there's a demonstration garden, like that totally makes sense. And then followed that trail, saw the little river on the other version of the map as well. And followed that over and saw Grand River, and I was like, this has got to be it. Like everything is lining up so good. This was like probably 8:40 p.m. on Tuesday night, I think, or on Monday night, I think it was. And so I was like, I can't go now, obviously. And so my kids were already asleep and my wife was getting her stuff around and stuff. And so I went up to bed. I think it was like 10 o'clock and I was like, I solved it. And she's like, I can't talk about it now. She's like, I don't want to like go into the details when I'm getting ready to go to sleep. So I was like, obviously I'm laying there like, I know where it's at. I think I know where it's at. Like, and I can't do anything about it. So didn't sleep super well that night. And I get up the next morning and we all get up pretty early because my wife leaves early for work. And I was like telling her, I was like, this is where it's at. And she's like, why didn't you go last night? And I was like, I wouldn't have gotten home until like 3 a.m. And I've been looking in the pitch dark. And so that at that point I was like, oh, I guess I have the like pass right now to just go. And so I didn't want to wait until my son went to school because I had a couple of work meetings that I had to attend that day. One was at noon and one was at like 2:30. And I'm mapping out. I'm like, oh, if I don't leave my house till 10, I'm not going to get there in time. And then I got to go park and find somewhere to do my work. And then maybe I'll get out. So I talked to my wife and I was like, can I just keep the kid out of work? Like, we'll just leave or out of school. I was like, I'll just leave now so we can make it there. So we hit the road at like 7:30 after we dropped my daughter off at her daycare to head up there. So we actually parked on the north side of the highway of 96 there, and then took that path that went down along the river. You passed by like Grand Valley's row house or whatever, the crew house, and came in from that. So I had like a spot marked on my map of where I wanted to start looking. So we went to that intersection essentially, and then just started I was a little worried at first because when it said like look up to the heavens, I'm like, man, should I have went to the start of that ravine and walked through and been looking up? Because I wasn't sure it was going to be at the end, but part of me felt like since it said grand destination that I'll start there and I'll go backwards if I don't find it there. So that's kind of how we got to the solve. But
awesome.
No, that's great. So I'm curious, Rhett, did you enjoy the little trip with your dad to win this prize?
Yeah.
What did you think when he decided to take you out of school?
That was a great idea.
Love it.
I understand. No, that's fantastic. Well, that's again similar to other seekers and other stages. You found your way to make it work, and you got there, and you found the prize. I am curious though. So one last question, and just in a minute or less.
Andrew's
I think we lost you,
once you got down to the river, you got my back.
You're back now, I think.
Hey, I'm sorry. Bad internet. I apologize. Real quick question. Once you got down to the river, how long did it actually take you to find the marker?
What do you think?
Like 20 minutes, maybe.
I think it was. I mean, once we got to the spot where we thought that, like, where the rivers met, and there was that little bridge.
Oh, I thought you meant like when we saw the river.
Yeah, no, we had to walk in for a ways, but once we got to the spot, it was less than 90 seconds.
Oh, wow. Nice. Who
yeah.
found it?
I found it first. Rhett was kind of like looking around, and I had worked my way down to the riverfront, and I was like looking back. And so once I looked back and I was looking up, I was looking in that tree for like a shape of an A, because I still didn't know what I was looking for. I was like, maybe something is shaped like an A. I hadn't really figured that it would be like an actual like plaque or something at that point, right? But then I saw it and I was like, oh, like, which I was kind of, I told my wife, I was like, I wish I wouldn't have reacted the way I reacted, because if I would have been a little bit more thoughtful, I would have like seen it and then like walked away and told him to go like search down there and find it himself. But I like immediately was like, oh, oh my gosh, it's there, you know? It's like,
Very cool.
Exciting to finally.
No, that's awesome. That's
end up.
Yeah, for sure. Well, no, that's great. Well, look, appreciate your time. We have other things we need to talk about. You're more than welcome to stay on, and perhaps we'll pepper you with one or two more questions later on, or would always love to hear your comments as we continue the discussion. But I'm going to hand it back to Mike, who I think is actually going to hand it to Greg. But you guys take it away.
Right on. Awesome. Well, it's awesome hearing from you guys. It's exciting to do it as a family and kind of do it as a group. It's one of those things that it's just a ton of fun, making memories. So stage 7 solved, obviously. Stage 8, we got some kind of exciting news. Super pumped. So stage 8's actually not going to kick off for another just over 2 weeks, but we're really, really excited because we are going to partner with the Ella Sharp Museum in Jackson for this stage. So the kickoff for stage 8 is going to be a live and live streamed event hosted at the museum on Saturday, October 18th at noon. And the entire solve is going to take place within the Ella Sharp Museum Park complex. Now, granted, it's a big complex. They've got a lot of stuff there. They got a museum and a planetarium, and a historical village, and I think they've got a putt-putt. And like it's big, but the entire stage is going to take place at the Ella Sharp Museum complex. So super exciting. It will be multi-layered, so you won't just be needing to find a single item or piece of information. It will be possible to complete in one visit, but we don't think it's very likely. We're hoping that it's going to be a couple weeks, but we get surprised. Doug and Rhett surprised us solving that one really quick after having a 2-month-long stage. So I guess we never really know, but it is all kind of on that campus. So super excited to work with the Ella Sharp folks. And as always, we'll release hints weekly on Thursdays, like we have been in the past for our normal hint cadence. But I know Greg had a couple things that he wanted to talk about. So this is the first time we've actually told you where the location was, right? Which always been part of the solve was figuring out where are you going, where to go. So, Greg, why are we telling people the location up front?
Yeah, it's really just part of us experimenting and seeing what stages stick and what people like. Some of the stages, like the Shakespeare stage, it would have been fantastic to work with Shakespeare's to promote that, but they were also the solve, so we couldn't do that. The Ella Sharp Park complex, they've been great and more than happy to work with us on placing our clues and kind of building it into what they do there. It's a 560 acre complex, so there's lots of places to hide things and to point people around, and this just takes away some of the travel that people necessarily need to plan for. So if you have to go to the Au River 3 times to solve a stage, that can be challenging, especially if you're, down in St. Joe or Kalamazoo. That was a 3.5 hour drive, I think, for me. So it's kind of
even worse when you're wrong, right? When you go all the way up to Au and you're like, I should have been in Grand Rapids. Right. That's a 20-minute drive.
Right. So this one, it hopefully builds some boundaries for people, and in that way allows more folks to participate. because they know, if you're Grand Rapids, it's maybe an hour and a half, but the other major cities are a little bit closer. And you may have to go there a couple of times. I don't expect it to be solved really fast. But at least you kind of know your boundaries, and it's not, am I driving to Petoskey and then Ausable and then Detroit and then South Haven, which is a lot of miles on the car. So just trying something different and try to get some more folks that maybe weren't able to participate in our stage 6 back in the game.
Cool. So obviously in the past, what we've done is we do a solve, and then 2 days later we release the clue to everybody else, or the next stage to everybody else. And now we're waiting a couple weeks to kick this one off on the 18th. Why are you delaying this, or why you Greg? Why are we delaying this stage start?
Well, with working with Ella Sharp, you have to define boundaries when you're working with other folks. So we kind of set some timelines on when we'd like to do a live stream from their facility and place some clues, and they were all on board with that. And then Doug here and Rhett go and solve our stage in 5 days. So we kind of had that built in, thinking, about the end of the month we'll be able to release some hints and we'll get there. We've kind of already set the timeline. So unfortunately, when you cross promote and partner with people, they have some expectations. So that's kind of the reason for the delay. It's not my fault, it's Doug's fault.
Yeah,
he solved the stage too early. But there's a couple other things around that. Is I said we hope to be a little bit longer. This also gives us a couple weeks to build some interest on this. It gives us a chance to work with the museum and partner and build some things into what they're doing on the floor. But it's also giving us a chance to kind of build some interest over the next 2 weeks to get some more people that maybe, hey, I'm pretty close to Jackson, why don't I give this a shot? We've still got the stage 10 grand prize, so we've still got over $20,000 on the table, and we'd like to use this and a couple of the next few stages to really build interest towards that final stage and getting a few more people participating in it.
Right on. What are we gonna be looking for?
Yeah, so the hint, the rollout, the live stream rollout is going to be a riddle. And that's really going to kind of guide you on the pieces of information or the physical objects that you may be searching for on that complex. So that's all we're going to share for now. But it should give you enough to determine kind of what you're looking for and how to use it in the solve. If that's nebulous and difficult enough for people to make heads or tails out of.
Yeah, and one of the things I had mentioned earlier was that this is going to be kind of a multi-layered stage. And obviously we can't get into specifics on what that means, but there will be multiple clues to kind of find and figure out and put together. But everything you're going to need is going to be on campus at the Ella Sharp complex. So albeit a large campus. So we're super excited to be partnering with Ella Sharp Museum on this one. The grounds are vast. It's beautiful. The museum and planetarium are really cool. It's worth a trip for the fam. For the live stream, the live event for the kickoff, come on out. It's actually pretty interesting because that same day from 4 to 7 p.m., they're doing a trunk or treat. So, we're going to be doing our thing at noon, and you guys can come, bring the fam, check out the museum. It's awesome. Stick around for candy and trunk or treat at 4 o'clock. And hopefully it's a beautiful day. I think the plan right now, I believe, is to do the live stream from inside the museum. But if it's a gorgeous day out, we may audible and just do it outside. But we have inside and outside options for us for when we go to do the stream and the kickoff. So we're super excited. Appreciate everybody at Ella Sharp for partnering with us. And that's all I had on the docket.
And one other thing is probably worth mentioning. So I'm not sure who the benefactor is, but through the month of October, I believe Ella Sharp Museum is free to enter. It's been, the admission price has been covered by a charity group or an anonymous benefactor. So another good excuse to visit now, just because it takes the cost out of it. And, you might even find a couple of our hidden clues in there.
Never know. All right. Anything else for the good of the group? Greg, Nick?
I don't think so. I'm excited. A little bit of downtime, but there's a lot of interesting things on this one, so it should be fun. Hopefully, people can live with the 2-week lull, and then we can get back at it for stage 8.
Awesome. Appreciate Doug and Rhett for popping in and kind of talking about their experiences. Hope to see you in Jackson on the 18th.
Sounds
Awesome.
good. Thank
We'll
you,
see
guys.
y'all.
All right. Bye, everyone.
All right.